Today we'll talk a little bit about building vibrant communities in rental living and the hybridization of hospitality and living sectors. With Conscious Coliving, we've collated research from the co-living, BTR, and PBSA sectors over the years about the benefits of community. And this is some of the data that we found from Channels, which is a tech platform working across these sectors. And their data surveys with co-living residents show that community makes people feel safe, allows residents to make friends, makes them feel less lonely, and provides a sense of belonging. And other research we've done with Conscious Co-Living with operators from Sweden, an operator from Sweden, for example, showed that over 70% of residents in their co-living communities felt less lonely, which is significantly lower levels of loneliness than EU averages. And yeah, some of the research, for example, this from the Happiness Research Institute, shows that happier people equals healthier societies. And the Happiness Research Institute has done the most important aspects of what makes a happy home. So some of those include pride, and identity, safety, comfort. And the research also shows that happier people live longer, they're more healthy, they're more productive, more engaged, and ultimately contributing to more social and sustainable societies. That's some of the research that of the benefits of community on residents themselves, but there's also a lot of research on the benefits of community on the business as well. So for example, here you can see research done by Venn, a co-living operator and tech platform in the US and Israel, and their surveys show that residents are 3.6 times more likely to renew when they feel like they belong. Research from the Eden Project, which is a flagship community project in the southwest of the UK, shows that there's a 12% boost in productivity when people feel happier, or the equivalent of 1 extra hour of work every day. And then inversely, their research, which was a collaboration with the UK Centre for Economics and Business Research, showed that the cost of disconnected communities to social services like healthcare and policing can go up to £32 billion a year, which is obviously a huge cost to society. So the importance of impact and the importance and impact of community-centered approaches cannot be understated. And having a clear user and community experience journey like this one that we've co-created in our community facilitation handbook is really key to success as a co-living operator. And defining each step of the journey, so from discovery and onboarding to in-house life, all the way through offboarding, can have a significant impact on the business and residents. And investing in clear strategies in each of these phases and also like human resources is really vital to this community experience success. And a lesson learned that we've seen over the years here is to be careful between providing too many services or too much convenience. So there's a lot of hospitality benefits that are in co-living, but when you're providing a bit too many services and too much convenience, there may be a link with lower engagement levels from community residents themselves, and them thinking that, oh, the responsibility is actually more on the operator and not themselves. So we call this the community versus convenience paradox, which is a little bit of a lesson learned. And for example, some of these user and experience best practices. So La Casa in France is an operator with over 50 communities, and they have an onboarding process that's done by residents themselves. So the residents curate and interview future residents. And there's also this mutual commitment to excellence and experience from the La Casa teams and the community members themselves. Gravity Co-Living in the UK, they have a community ambassador program where select residents have operational and event management roles. And as an operator, they also provide different well-being support to the residents. Urban Campus in Spain and France, they have very similar initiatives, and their data shows that residents feel 95% happier after moving in, 45% feel at home in 1 to 2 weeks, and 85% feel less lonely after moving into their Urban Campus communities. And finally, POHA House takes a very meaningful community engagement approach and holistic wellness approach, and I'll let Yianni talk more about that now.
Now, community can form naturally, but the strongest ones are designed with intent. And this is exactly where CoSpaces comes in. It's creating a home that's an experience. It's blending design, operations, community activation to turn rental space into these thriving hubs. And where at its best, you're moving into a fully furnished space that's designed with comfort and wellness in mind, with on-site community managers whose primary role is to create community, connecting residents not only to their neighbors, but also to the neighborhoods that they live in. And everything you do has to, when you design the space, when you operate the space, is mission driven. It's focused on a positive impact, and that brings people together who share similar values. And it's a space where people can choose how they want to live and how they want to work, because you often diversity and flexibilities in their spaces and also their leasing options. So co-spaces are more than just an apartment. This is a platform for connection. It's where people can live, work, they can thrive under one roof in a seamless, effortless way. And when this is scaled with purposeful design, it evolves into what people are vertical villages, where the corridors become streets and the spaces are thoughtfully crafted to promote organic social interactions. For instance, they're incorporating shared kitchens, shared community areas, shared co-working spaces, leisure areas, and the intention is to increase these square meters that really enhance community bonds. Because the more intentional you are about these spaces, the more effortless community forms. And you've probably all seen them. It's clear that these amenity spaces are evolving. They probably remind you than any apartment you ever lived in. But the real question here that we have is, are these spaces being designed to be actually useful, or are we just adding more space for the sake of it? Is this a race for space? Something that we learned early on is that long-term and short-term guests will use those spaces very differently. They have different needs, different routines, different expectations. And some of our biggest lessons that you can take away is that more isn't always better. Centralized, well-used spaces, that's what builds real community. We actually initially underestimated the value of fitness areas. If there's one next door, you still need one in the building. These multifunctional spaces that you create have to be practical, and they have to be practical for those dual uses. And when you design spaces for connection, it's also very important to design spaces that are intimate nooks and for people to disconnect. Essentially, what you always want to be asking yourself is, does this investment into this space actually match the return on experience? I mean, how many people really need a golf simulator in their house? Now, I've talked to Catherine Rose from Verve Life, and she's the one that has this in one of her buildings. And she said it's not actually heavily used, but it does serve a great purpose for branding. I think the key here is that space doesn't necessarily make the community. What's really, really important is if you activate those spaces. So you have to make scheduled, curated events that turns amenities into daily rituals, which make these spaces actually truly lived by people. And one way to do this, and is technology, and this is where technology actually plays a key role. Your resident app, which most operators have, provides a seamless connection, convenient experience for the resident. Essentially, it's a concierge in your pocket where you can effortlessly book cleaning services, book private dining rooms, log repairs. You even have a mobile key in case you get locked out. There's 24/7 customer support, and it's a community enabler. So you can join events, you can talk to your neighbors, and you can even unlock special perks from brands that we love. And the evidence shows that technology actually drives better connections and a better living experience. Hakoko, which provides one of these resident apps, surveys an operator after they installed the app, and they found that 38% of the tenants had fewer inquiries because they could deal with it with the app. It automated services, so they were able to streamline their management, and they had higher satisfaction and retention in their buildings because there was less friction. But for a real tenant satisfaction, we found it's essential to create a climate of unreasonable hospitality in your culture, because Essentially, this is not about renting rooms to people. You're trying to provide people with experiences that really improve their lives. And there's immense power in exceeding expectations. And to make this happen, you need a team and a culture that truly actually want to make a difference. And we've embedded this in every level of our business through hospitality and community onboarding. We even have a Dreammaker Slack now, which residents and with our teams and our community managers can share moments that they have made someone's day special. And I've put one here, which is actually posted yesterday. It's one of my favorites, not just because it involves me, but it was a community team in Munster, which had a D&D group, and I was staying there, and they invited me to play with them. They didn't know who I was. This is a community-led initiative. It starts every Tuesday. And I sat down next to Stephanie Stillhart, who patiently explained the game to me. And we sat with the community team after and said, how can we make this better for them? So as a small gesture, we gifted them the latest Dungeon Master's Guide, and we personalized cups that said, because you rock, we roll. And this small interactions, that's what truly shapes the residents' lives and makes their experience. And I'll end on this point because I think it's the most important. You have to surround yourself with a team that's driven and passionate and really wants to make a difference. A team that really believes that no one should be left to live alone, and that a home can actually be a place of happiness that expands your identity. And if you do that, you'll define the future of living not by the past and these buildings that were designed to divide us, but by the promise of future homes that can connect and unite us.